Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? I'm trying out a new microphone today, so let me know how it sounds. Is it clear? Is it crispy? How is it? Hope everyone is doing well today. It doesn't feel like a Friday to me. Does it feel like a Friday to you guys and dolls? Um, Sometimes it just feels like the days are whizzing past. Okay, you can all yeah, you can hear me clearly. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Yeah, you can hear me clearly. Okay, fantastic. Oh, it sounds like I'm still in bed. No, I'm not still in bed. It's probably just the mic. Um, all right. Good morning, Rosa. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a blessed day too. Hi, Queen Bee. Hi, Annie. Hi. Outsider's perspective. Hi, Outsider's perspective. Did you send me a private DM on Twitter? I think you did. I think I need to get back to you about that. I'm so sorry. It's been such a crazy week and a bit. I will get back to you. Hello, Sylvia. B10 Power. Hi, Lane Parker. Gloria, good morning to you. Well, it's afternoon over here. Yes, I'm going to do an afternoon podcast today just to also share. I missed you too. Just to get us up to speed of what's been going on. So this isn't going to be a very long one. And then I've got a more topical podcast in the evening, which should be fun because there's a lot to discuss there. And that's just going through, the various things that could possibly end the monarchy. And there's a lot that could contribute. I think it's going to be a collective of things, but I think individually they're quite interesting to examine. So if you're interested in that, please do come to the evening podcast. It should be quite a fun discussion. And I will definitely open up the phone lines because I feel like we haven't had a phone line podcast for a while. And I think that probably a lot of you have a lot to say about the last 2 weeks because it's been pretty wild. But thankfully, our faves are back in Montecito, and we can hopefully have a lot to look forward to. I'm hearing a rumor that archetypes might be pushed back for 6 weeks. I can anyone clarify that actually? Because like with all things, um, I I don't want to believe it unless it came from the Sussex people, but this is what I'm hearing. Uh, but yes, thankfully, our faves made it back home, and despite absolutely everything that they tried to throw at them, well, we got our faves trending with King Harry, and Meghan Markle won, and Prince of Pegging, and Duchess of Tights, and Camilla Tominey is a liar, and KKK Kate, that's been trending for some time, for the last couple of days. Prince William affair, royal family lied, racist royal family. And this is what they just don't have any control over anymore. They don't have control over social media. Lee Thompson and the Kensington Palace bots and trolls are trying their absolute best, but it's just not working. And when you have an institution that is like a typewriter trying to work in an iPhone world, they're really, really scrambling and you can see it. And it's what makes things like this just so laughable. So this came out, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that the royal family are having been given a veto on the use of footage on the Queen's funeral. I don't even understand why they would bother with this, because the I would say the vast majority of people who did not watch the funeral live, and that would be tens of millions of people, saw clips on social. And a lot of the clips on social are going more viral than the whole funeral itself. And many of those clips are clips of the booing that happened throughout the weeks, the kind of embarrassing bits and pieces here and there, like um, Harry walking past Kate and ignoring her when William told her to move, things like that. There's no hiding those things. So I don't know if they're going to attempt to hide various clips on social media as well and start going after social media platforms. I don't know how that would work. But the idea that you're going to try and make sure that that footage is never shown again on TV when there's a whole internet that exists is wild to me. And they actually just bring more attention to the parts that they want to hide. Because now people are going to be asking who maybe never watched the funeral, okay, what are they hiding? And it's just part and parcel of that invisible contract that we all know exists between the unroyals and the press. As you can see here, a picture of Camilla kissing Lord Rothermere, who, of course, is the head of Associated Press, which owns the Daily Mail. Joan Hickey, why on earth would they push it back for 6 weeks? Yes, why on earth would they push it back for 6 weeks? That's a good question, but that's what I keep seeing people post, and I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I think people need to just remember that if it doesn't come from the Sussex people, just be careful when posting stuff like that. Sorry, guys and dolls, give me a sec. I have to fiddle with something in the background. All right. Good morning to you, Faith. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everyone. If you just joined us, hit that thumbs up button, please. Has everyone watched Baron's video on the Queen's final resting place? It got like over 1 million views. That's absolutely incredible. It just shows you like you can make hundreds and hundreds of videos. I mean, I think Baron's made coming close to maybe 700 videos, and it just takes that one video to go mega viral. And it was a very good and very informative video as well. I think a lot of people were very interested in, yeah, like where's the Queen going to be buried, and what is the whole deal with that? Because that is one fancy smancy burial place. Let's read your comments before we move on. D'Angel, they can veto all they want, can't stop nature and the times. Well, I'm actually working on a video on Charles's prophecy when it comes to him being king. There is a prophecy that he will either not be king or not be king for very long. And it could be why I'm hearing talks about them moving up the coronation because these people are very superstitious. There is a superstition that if is it the ravens or the crows escape from, or not escape, but if they fly away from the Tower of London, and don't come back, then the monarchy will fall, to the point where like they do something with their wings so they don't go too far and migrate. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were like ultra superstitious and believed in this whole thing about Charles not becoming king, and they're just paranoid. Thank you so much, Lorna, for the super sticker, much appreciated. Benjamin, whatever true little power or mystique that office had under the Queen is now all gone. All bets are off. Yes, I was surprised in the funeral footage, with the funeral footage matter. It brings more attention to themselves. Yes. And there was actually a very good article, I think it was by The Guardian, where they talked about how the Queen basically became bigger than the institution itself. And now that she's gone, it's like that shield that they had is also gone. I might do another video about the monarch, the monarchy, the Windsors, and the crown, because I feel like all of those entities are, when you break them down, they all come together to form one power, but they're also separate. I think I might do a video about that, and I'll explain what I mean by that later on in the podcast, because I found a very interesting thread that I thought I'd read out to you. Mm. Khadija, Megan needs some time to herself and her family. Yes, I hope they take a good couple of weeks out, or as long as they need anyway. Lilybell, Lord Rothermere was at the Queen's funeral along with Rebecca Burke to see her son. Yes, I heard this, but I haven't seen any pictures. If anyone knows where I can get some pictures, please let me know because I want those pictures. Legs, well, my guess is that they want to not highlight the visuals where they were clearly abusing Meghan. Yeah, I mean, who at this point can't see what the problem was? You had so many pictures. I don't think I have it on my slides. I might have deleted it, but there was one particular picture where it's Kate, Sophie, and Camilla, all three of them standing in the front, and um Meghan just standing in the back, looking very isolated. So optically, the whole thing, it did not look good. I also think, for reasons many, the institution is going to regret not standing up for Harry and Meghan, because it's gotten to the point now where day in day out I see these outrageous articles. Thank you so much, Lorna. You're appreciated as well. You all are. Where you see these outrageous articles. The most recent one I saw was that Harry wasn't invited to dinner on the night of the Queen's death, and then there was another article saying that he wasn't told until an hour before. And it's gotten to the point where it's difficult to differentiate whether these stories are being leaked by courtiers, leaked by the unroyals, or if it's just the press chasing clicks and drama for cash. Because it could be any one of those three or all three at the same time sometimes. But it now makes the unroyals look bad because you just have to almost assume now, because they've been so horrible to Harry and Meghan, well, it's got to be coming from them, right? Mama, yes, he has sausage fingers. There's really something wrong with his health. His blood doesn't circulate. Yeah, I asked my mom about this because she's a nurse, and she said, well, that it could also have something to do with his heart. Yes, Carolyn, even the pens are leaking. Everything is leaking. Oh, thank you so much to Annie Burnett, who has become a YouTube member. Thank you. Like I always say, guys and dolls, if there's anything you feel like I can do for members, please do let me know. I am looking to open a Patreon and add memberships to buy me a coffee, because there's a couple of you who have said that you want to become members, but the members join tab doesn't show up on Android apparently. So for those of you who do want to become members, that will be an option very shortly. And of course, if you want something for yourself, there, I don't usually talk about it. I just put it in the description box. But there is Duchess of Success merchandise, or you can buy one of my books. So there's different options if you want to support. Thank you very much, all of you, for supporting. All right, so on to the next thing. Yes, there have been protests in Melbourne. They had a day of mourning. And obviously, Australia is a Commonwealth uh, country. Queen is the head of state. They had a referendum in 1997, but they voted to keep the Queen. And there were major protests in Melbourne against the Queen and the monarchy, led by Lydia Thorpe, who is the Green senator. She famously refused, well, she initially called the Queen a colonizer in her swearing in speech, but she had to say her speech again because she couldn't call the Queen a colonizer. It had to be said word for word. And she has spoken time and time again against the Queen and against monarchy and for the Indigenous people of Australia. And it was quite a big turnout. It wasn't just Indigenous people, it was a very, very mixed crowd, very, very loud abolish the monarchy chants. I'm not going to play the video because um, in one of my previous videos where I played the video of Charles getting booed, it got hit with copyright. So if my phone stops playing up, I may be able to give you the audio, but unfortunately I won't put the video up just in case I get stricken. Right, let me see if I can get it. I don't know if the sound will come up. Mm. Let's okay, maybe this one. Please play. Okay, technology is not on our side. Do you know what? What I'm gonna do is I'll post it as its own video, then it doesn't matter whether or not I get a strike afterwards. So after the podcast, just give it like 5 minutes and I'll post that video. But it was very, very loud, very, very big crowds, and they let their feelings be known in Melbourne. Mm. And this world is going mad everywhere. Something big is coming. Yeah, there's this whole thing with Russia, right? And his Putin is rallying troops. So it's scary times, but let's focus on what we can control at least. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for the soup sticker. I think it's just scary times because we're having to live through it. But there's always been scary times throughout history. I guess we take our stability for granted sometimes. Robert Collins protests were in Melbourne and Sydney. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Lily Bell, the Australian channel that had Thomas Markle on where he went rogue about trying to stop Meghan's wedding, they're being sued for defamation by the two paparazzis that he accused. Wow, I did not know that. Thank you for bringing that up. Woo. Do you know what? This is probably why then him and that side of the family, the Markle clan, have been so quiet. Because I was expecting them to drag them out to try and convince Harry and Meghan probably not to come. The same BS that we saw with the Jubbly, right? But they were quiet as mice, and I was very suspicious. No, I guess this is why. I'd heard something about the paparazzi taking a lawsuit out specifically on Thomas Markle, but I didn't know it was now going further with this Australian channel. Yes, they went too hard and spewed too much vitriol towards Meghan, and it's all going to come back to bite them. All of it. Okay. And many news outlets have noticed. You had Vogue. This was a piece called Let's call the abuse towards Meghan Markle what it is. And this is just a short snippet from the overall article, which is very good. Go check it out. It says it's difficult not to see the racism or explain away the vitriol for Markle, the droning, relentless persecution, and anything but racial prejudice. Meghan's behavior is in line with the firm's expectations for her. There was the fuss about wedding tights, and she wore tights this whole trip. Not to be too glib in the face of what's shaping up to be a campaign of rampant discrimination, but after vocal concern about the colouring of her kids, she bore two light-skinned offspring. What more do these people want? It's impossible to watch white Sophie Wessex hold her white husband's hand at the same event with zero criticism lobbied at them. For the record, I think Sophie is great. I just can't stand the double standard, the extra expectations on the biracial couple. Let's not sugarcoat the idea that a black woman's display of affection and intimacy makes people more uncomfortable. Black actions are seen differently, they are scrutinized. Yeah, and something as simple as a biracial woman holding her white husband's hand triggers some people so much. It triggered one caller on the James O'Brien show so much that she went around in circles trying to explain why Meghan holding her husband's hand is so damn offensive. And I've always felt that, you know, as a black woman, often you get put in this box where people see you as somebody who's not worthy of nice things. Um, they just have this idea that you're for the streets, you're for the struggle. You're not meant to have nice things. You're not meant to have a princely husband. You're not meant to have luxuries. Even your femininity and your womanhood is questioned. And so when you don't fit into that ugly box that people want to put you in, um, that then becomes a problem. More so if you reach the highest echelons of society. And for sure, that Meghan is in these circles, that she is as graceful and as beautiful, as feminine, as well spoken as she is, it does trigger a lot of people because that's just not the image that gets pushed mainstream of what a black woman is meant to be. Be 10 power. And it doesn't matter that even, it doesn't even matter that Meghan is biracial and has that one drop of black in her. That is still enough to piss people off. B10 Powell, let the monarchy keep this hate against the Sussexes up as Charles gets older and feeble and William starts to lose his royal mind for all to see. The monarchy will unfold under the pressure. Well, it would appear that William is already starting to lose his royal mind and he's struggling, along with Kate, to keep things going for the camera. So, this was a collection of pictures that someone put together. You are not going to tell me that there aren't problems in this marriage. In all of these pictures, William just trailing away ahead of her, the coldness between these two is so much in contrast to the warmth between Harry and Meghan. And this is why they have to yell at Harry and Meghan just for holding hands. Because they need to distract from this, from the fact that something, I'm not saying what, something is going on between these two. This is not an example of a couple that is loving, that is close. And also, I think this was taken yesterday at their first engagement after the funeral. There was this awkward moment where William kind of, flings his hands up like, where were you? And then Kate walks forward, and then as she's walking forward and he turns around, she kind of like opens her eyes, like she's very irritated. And you can see the slope that these two are going down, very much mirroring Diana and Charles. So there was a period in Diana and Charles's relationship where they did a very good job at keeping a good face to the cameras. And then eventually the mask starts to slip slowly, slowly, slowly. And I believe we're at the beginning phases of the masks starting to slip phase of Kate and William, because you're seeing things now in public that you never really used to see. The fact that they're always so distant, looking slightly irritated at each other in public. And also, I thought we're still meant to be mourning. There was meant to be a 7 days of family mourning. Personally, I think that the 7 days was just a way of keeping, or an attempt to keep Harry and Meghan back in the UK. Because here it looks like they are absolutely having a rock star moment. Welcome back to work, the Daily Mail says. What work that is, I don't know. But they better savor this time, savor it while the popularity is still relatively high, while the buzz from the funeral is still there. I find it interesting that nobody is questioning why they're so happy and gleeful. Because if Meghan's podcast had come out on Tuesday, you would have never heard the end of it. She's being insensitive to the Queen. Is she really mourning? Did she really mean those tears? That's what you would have heard. But here these two are smiling and waving for the cameras and the crowds at a time that is meant to be the so-called mourning period. And something else that people picked up on during the funeral was that Catherine is head to toe in Queenie's jewelry. The necklace, the earrings, and the bracelet. You can see the X detail around the pearls of the bracelet on both the Queen and Kate's bracelet. It's the same bracelet and it's the same necklace and I believe the same earrings. There is something seriously wrong with you if you can wear the jewelry of a dead woman to her funeral. And I don't understand why anybody isn't picking up on this and going, what is she doing? What is wrong with her? Why would you wear the jewelry of a dead woman to her funeral? That is weird. Or at least I think that's weird anyway. Hello, if you're just joining us in the chat. Vargas, black women have always been masculinized. Yes, you saw this with Michelle Obama quite a lot, and you've seen it a lot with women like Serena Williams. Both of those women having their femininity questioned, having their womanhood questioned, people calling them men. Um, but also, you say in your comment, when we don't act like asexual warrior women, it makes the establishment people angry. Yes, it does. Or when we don't fit any of the stereotypes, the over sexualized Jezebel. Um, I mean, we know what the stereotypes are. Mad world. I know grown couples that wear matching clothes. So what's the big deal on hand holding exactly? I think matching clothes is quite cute. Tiger Hub, does it bother the royal family that Harry and Meghan radiate sex appeal just by holding hands? Meanwhile, when Copycat tries it with Will, just to copy Meghan, Stiff William looks like he doesn't want to be touched. They don't seem to look like they like being each other's presence in general. I mean, look at that. Really, really weird. This is meant to be a married couple. Guys on first dates are more gentlemanly than this. Light side of the moon. She did not want. Sorry, she did that to Meghan on the walkabout. Did anyone else see Kate stare down? Yes, I posted this on my Instagram page. And when you actually watch it from the other angle, a little bit more close, you can actually see she literally steps towards her and stares her down, and Meghan steps back. Harry doesn't even look at her, mind you. Mama Bob, Kate's ring had bad karma. Well, she wanted that ring. She wanted the Diana ring, and she got the ring. Jackie K, welcome. Thank you for becoming a new member. Welcome to the club. Lynn, my mum said when you're digging a hole for someone, dig one for yourself. The attacks on Harry and Meghan showcase how racist, vile, monarchy, the tabloids, and the royal rodents are. The world saw. Yes, the world saw. And I just can't, like, I respect Harry and Meghan so much for going through what they went through. Yes, they both genuinely wanted to pay their respects to the Queen, but knowing that they were going to go into a lion's den, my respect to them. Okay, so what else did I want to mention? Oh yes, there was another article that came out and She Knows. Well, actually, no, I think this came out in the Independent and then some other news outlets picked up on it about King Charles's cousin criticizing the royal family's extradition of hellish hazing geared at Meghan. So now the cousins are speaking out. I guess that cousin realized that they weren't going to be part of the slim down monarchy, so they're like, let me start talking because I have nothing to lose. And okay, let's finish up with a couple stories and then I'll take your comments. Up in Scotland, there was a teacher who was suspended for encouraging students to question the monarchy. He got into a debate with a young student. Now, as far as teachers expressing personal opinions in schools, the government guideline states the following: the teachers and other staff have a responsibility to ensure that they act appropriately, particularly in the political views they express. There is no blanket prohibition on teachers and staff expressing their own views on political issues that are taught to pupils. However, there is a risk that doing so could sometimes amount to promoting a partisan political view or compromise the balanced presentation of opposing views. Teachers and staff are in a position of authority and will typically be respected and trusted by students they teach, giving their personal opinions greater weight and credibility. As a general principle, they should avoid expressing their own personal political views to students unless they are confident. This will not amount to promoting that view to pupils. So, I mean, you could have a whole debate about that, whether or not the teacher was right in what he said or expressing his views to the students. But yeah, that happened up in Scotland, and obviously in Scotland there is slightly more Republican sentiment than there is in, say, England. So I don't know how long that teacher will be suspended for. But yeah, that happened. Also, I came across this very interesting thread about the royals and tax havens and dark money. This is by a guy named John Christensen, and he said on Twitter that an unnoticed aspect of British imperialism is that the British monarch is also head state of many prominent tax havens, including Bermuda, BVI, Cayman Islands, Gibraltar, Guernsey, Jersey, and so on. So tax havens are just territories where very wealthy people can reduce their tax bill and also channel dark money and other assets without being penalized. He goes on to say, shortly after Elizabeth II was crowned, the Bank of England quietly um, is that committed in the City of London based banks handling dollar deposits outside the Federal Reserve's regulatory reach. Dark money poured in from across the world, and the city soon established satellite financial centers in crown dependencies and overseas territories, which allowed the bank and successive governments to deny responsibility for these offshore operations. As head of states, the reigning monarch is empowered to appoint senior officials to the CDs and OTs. I have no idea what that is. The monarch's Privy Council also has the power to block or greenlight all legislation adopted by these tax havens. So, who is on the Privy Council? Charles, now, because he's the monarch. Andrew, the likes of Simon Case, who work with the British government. So, just bear that in mind. He goes on to say, when I asked the previous monarch to request Prime Minister David Cameron at their weekly meeting to make action to clean up Britain's tax havens, they politely declined. Of course, they did. Regrettably, such denial of responsibility is all too typical of Britain's smoke and mirrors approach to ensuring the good governance of its tax haven territories. Britain's tax haven empire has been supporting tax evaders, kleptocrats, autocrats, and organized crime for nigh on 70 years. So, pretty much all of Betty's reign. They have played a considerable part in undermining the rule of law and democracy in this country and across the entire world. I very much hope that the incoming head of state of the Crown dependencies and overseas territories, oh, that's what CD and OT stands for then, Crown dependencies and overseas territories, will want their government to take immediate action to curtail this shameful aspect of Britain's current hole in the global economy. And there is a documentary on Netflix called The Spider's Web, Britain's Second Empire. So I'm going to watch that. I encourage you to all watch that, and I will definitely do a review on this documentary because I think this is a very interesting topic. And links back to what I was saying earlier on about the differences between the crown and, or what I consider the differences between like crown and monarchy. Because when I look at this situation, say with the tax havens and the dark money, the weapons dealings, we know that the unroyals are often used as brokers for things like weapons deals. That's what I consider the crown, right? The power, the empire, and the monarchy is just what the public is shown. So the pomp and the pageantry and the tiaras and the parades, and the idea of monarchy hides everything behind it. It protects the crown. If that makes, I hope I'm making sense when I say that. But that's pretty much all I had to say today, I think. Oh, one more thing. Yeah, this happened. So I like to listen to music when I'm writing, and I searched for epic female voices. That was a search term that I used when I was looking for music. On the For You section, a video from a Meghan hater channel popped up as the first video. Now, from my understanding, the For You section, yes, it's meant to give you videos based on what the algorithm thinks that you're interested in. I just don't understand. Number one, why did a video about Meghan come up when I was searching for music? Why did that video come from a hater channel? Because yes, I watch other Meghan related channels, but they're all pro Meghan related channels. Now I can understand perhaps the algorithm might get a bit confused between the hater channels and the pro Meghan channels, but I have hit don't recommend and do not watch the hater channels at all. So I don't understand, if it was going to recommend a Meghan video, wouldn't it recommend it from one of the many pro Meghan channels that I watch? It just seems like something is going on where the algorithm seems to be pushing these hater channels a lot more, even if you don't watch them. And I want an explanation from YouTube as to why, when I am searching for music, I get an anti Meghan channel from an anti Meghan video from an anti Meghan channel. How did that happen? It makes no sense. But with that, I'm done for now. We'll have a second podcast later on in the evening. And thank you everyone so much for coming. Thank you for the super chats, super stickers, and our 2 new members. Really, really appreciate you all. Pamela, you said Kate seems distant and cold and icy recently, even cold and distant to her husband. Could it be something to do with the alleged infidelity? I mean, it could be. I think it's a number of things. I just think that whole institution turns you cold and nasty. These people are pissed off about Meghan holding her husband's hand, about her husband loving her openly and unapologetically. Wouldn't surprise me if they're all cold. I mean, look at them all. It literally ages you. Legs, I can't help but think what a pathetic life that Kate has had. She was tailored for upward mobility her entire life. She followed Boldy when she moved and broke up with her. He broke up with her twice, and she wanted this. Yes, she literally followed him everywhere. She followed him on her gap years. She changed her university. I think as the years go on, we're really gonna see and hear the full story of Kate and William, not the fairy tale that was sold to us. The fairy tale that, if I'm honest, even I believed. I was genuinely happy for William and Kate on their wedding day. I remember that day. It was a lovely day. And as far as I was concerned, regardless of how I felt about the whole institution, Diana's son, Diana's boy, who had to walk behind his mother's coffin, was happy, finally. And I was genuinely happy for William and Kate. Only all these years to find out that the story we were told wasn't quite the fairy tale, and that these two individuals would act the way they would towards Harry's biracial wife. And then also to find out that despite all the hopes that we had for them, they were not the hardworking, progressive young royals that we thought that they were going to be. A complete and utter disappointment in a way that I could have never imagined that glorious sunny day when we were all happy for them. I would have never ever imagined that day. If you had told me this is how things were going to unravel, I would have laughed at you. But here we are. Isn't life weird like that? Mm. Who can? How did you think they start out with nothing and end up with millions on their death while not having a job? Oh yeah, are you referring to the tax havens? uh, Serena, what happened to the 3 million stuffed in bags and suitcases for his charities? Yes, that's a good question. Jackie, 50 and £20 notes of Betty's head cannot be used after the end of September. Really? Let me have a look at this. Cash with Queen's face. I mean, I would hope that they have some kind of scheme where you can just go to the bank and change the money. So the money with the face of the Queen will gradually be removed from circulation following her death. Yes. All right. I'll read a little bit more into that to see how it's going to work, and I might mention it in another podcast. Thank you, Jackie. Sharpie, Kate will never give up that crown. She's too close. Oh, do I still have that picture? Please tell me I did not delete that picture. Yes, there it is. Just have to get rid of Charles. I hope that Charles has the rat tasters, because these people are thirsty for that crown. Game of Thrones and the Borgias all at once. Mama, I can't wait for the crown to come out. Charles is going to get really bad press. Well, it depends on how harsh the crown is in season 5, and I believe that they are now filming for season 6, because the last season I didn't think they were that harsh on Charles at all. I have no idea what the royals kicked such a stink about, because actually I thought that the crown really humanized Charles, and it also left out a lot of the ill treatment that Diana suffered. I don't know if it might be in the next season, but Diana was drugged by doctors. She threw herself down the stairs when she was pregnant with William. They left all of that out. So I didn't think they were that harsh on Charles at all. And it's left to be seen how harsh they will be going forward. Um, Beatrice, those hater channels have ads, yes. And YouTube is making a lot of money from them. I mean, that the hater channels get tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds and thousands of views. But some of them are being shut down. Christopher Boozy is doing a lot of work on this, so I don't think it'll be too long before there is a lot more just regulation on these things. Because I think that when you have channels that are literally just, as Christopher Boozy would describe them, single purpose hater accounts, that is their single purpose, not to have any type of critical discussion or balanced discussion or wide ranging discussion. It's just Meghan did this and it was horrible. Thank you so much. Is it heck when? Please let me know if I'm saying that correctly. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Yes, everyone liked Willie before he turned to the dark side. He used to have Diana's thick blonde hair, rosy cheeks. He literally looked like a Disney prince. And now we find ourselves here. um, wait, let me just get a picture. Oh no, did I delete it? I deleted it. Okay, well here, okay, this one. Yes, now we find ourselves here. How disappointing is that? Marina, me too, Anne. I watched Wedding, but never really cared much about them after because they were boring and lazy. Yeah, I remember they made a big deal out of the first appearance, first so-called working engagement. It was, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. Like my memory is so fresh. Kate smashed the wine bottle open and poured it over a boat. Yes, that was their first working engagement. Smashing a bottle of champagne open and pouring it over a boat. That's being a working royal for you. It just went completely downhill from there. Khadija, they are trapped, like Harry said. Well, someone has to be the face of the monarchy to protect the crown. So what are they going to do? This is what they have left now. William and Kate and Charles and Andrew and Anne. That's what they have left to be the face of the monarchy. And can those people dazzle the masses for long enough to protect the crown for another 100, 200, 300 years? Do they have that in them? I don't know. We were on day 3 and somebody was throwing a tantrum because of their pen. Um, when I think something just dropped on Meghan's podcast. Did she interview Stacey Abrams? Something just dropped on Meghan's podcast. I didn't see anything. Hang on a sec. Okay, I'll check it later and we can catch up on that in the evening. Lynn, the monarchy is so out of touch. It's asinine to me because social media has it all. Yeah. I mean, it's really going to be interesting to see how they navigate. Rahini, as a semi-royalist, okay, that is the first time I'm hearing that phrase, semi-royalist. I'm so disappointed in William. Just a waste of space. Well, you can let me know what you mean by semi-royalist in this evening's podcast if you're around, because I definitely want to hear more about that. That's so interesting. Is it okay? Maybe is it like what my mother is? Because my mother will be the most hardline Pan Africanist you've ever met one day, and then she still has a whole glass cabinet full of royal memorabilia. So is that a semi-royalist? Love to hear more about that. Oh gosh, good morning everyone who's just joining us, but we are finishing up. We are finishing up. Thank you. You can watch with the replay, gang. Mm, let's see. Sim Baron's video about the Queen's Borough Chamber was fantastic. It was. It really was. Go check that out if you haven't watched it already. Yes, Trish, I'm relieved that they're back as well. If you're just joining us, I'm just going through comments before we call it a day. So you're probably best to go back and watch on replay. Kate and Sophie have husbands who don't really care for them. Meghan has a husband who loves her. I can see why they are so bitter looking, and why many other onlookers are bitter as well. Oh, thank you so much to Barbara McKay for joining. Become a member. Thank you. Much appreciated. All right, I've managed to get through all your comments. So who's gonna get the last word of the day? Hopefully we should have our kid types back by next week. I mean, look at all of this on the screen, everyone. We don't need to worry about nothing. Archwell, Lead with Love, Girls Inc., Loveland, Press Pad, Aspen Institute, World Central Kitchen, Global Citizen, Clever Blends. I still haven't ordered Clever Blends. I think I might do that this month. Treat myself some Clever Blends. Paid Leave for All, Smart Work, Times. I mean, how many times have they been on the cover of Times? NAACP, Better Up Than Me, You Can't See, all other things, Invictus Games, all of the things. So we don't need to worry. Harry and Meghan got this. They got this. They got this. Benjamin. Okay, Benjamin, I'm going to give you the last word of the podcast. I hope Meghan resolves to make the reception she and H got on this trip a reason to be stronger without any apologies. Amen to that, Benjamin. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, as always. And I will see you later for this evening's discussion. What might end the monarchy? And I will be opening the phone line, so I'd love to hear your opinions on that as well. Ciao.
People should expect the real me in this, and probably the me that they've never gotten to know. Certainly not in the past few years, where everything is through the lens of the media, as opposed to, hey, it's me. I'm just excited to be myself and talk and be unfiltered, and yeah, it's fun.